Let's do this. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm going to walk you through Clue.Labs. I'm so excited to do this. This is an absolute brand new piece of technology. It's not been seen or done anywhere yet, and it's very fresh, innovative. It's a baby piece of technology. There's so much potential for it. So I really want to walk you through because you've probably never seen anything like this and don't understand how it could possibly work. So I've got a little structure. We're going to go through a welcome. I'm going to go through why I set up Clue.Labs, because that's very important to understand. I'm then going to take you on a walkthrough of the technology, in which I'm going to show you a team setup and best practice, as well as the calendar creation that happens, and the prompts and suggestions that it does. I am going to discuss limitations because it's important to understand. I'm then going to cover what's included in Clue.Labs currently, but then also what's next in Clue.Labs, like the things that we're going to be developing out. And then I want to round off by covering the price. So this video is going to be a little bit long, and there's a lot to digest because, like I said, it's absolutely brand new technology and there's quite a lot to cover. But I've timestamped the video, so if you want to skip ahead to bits, if you're already signed up to Clue.Labs, hello. You might want to skip through to some of the team setups and calendar content creation and prompt section so that you can understand some best practice, how to get the most out of the technology, and then understanding what's next so that you can understand kind of what your journey is going to be with Clue.Labs as a founding member. Not signed up to Clue.Labs yet? Watch the whole thing, honestly. This technology is insane. The capabilities are amazing. And we are only releasing it to founding users for now. Full public release will be in April, at which time the price will have gone up and the price structure and the way that we do things will have changed. I'm going to cover that in what's next. But we have a handful of founding user spaces. A founding user, I'm going to go over that when I go over what's included, but a founding user is someone that's going to come on board right now with the capabilities that it has now and help us shape the future of Clue.Labs, be a part of the community, be a part of the feedback team. It's a really exciting, really fun, really like collaborative way to work with a company. It's really, really good. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Inga Hunter. I set up Clue.Labs off the back of 7+, 8+, I can't remember how many years of being in social and getting to a point where I am so frustrated with organic social media. I love organic social media. I don't do paid media. I don't do paid simply because I refuse to give the oligopoly of the social media companies my money just to put my content in different places. There's a lot of problem with social media. There are fake gurus who have managed to kind of grow on social media. They don't really understand why, because no one really understands why unless you analyze the data. And they are telling other people what to do, but often with techniques that only work for themselves and outdated techniques. The one thing you have to understand about social media is it is hyper personalized to you, yourself, and your company. If you ever go onto your social media, the content that you see is a fingerprint of you and you only. And so the account that you have created is a fingerprint of you and your own company. And someone else telling you what to do might work here and there, but it's really not going to work. It's like, it's a bit like the human body and like medicine, you know. You could just continue taking paracetamol, but we don't really know how it works. And so, but if somebody could set aside a technology that would analyze, scan all manner of bits of your body, understand why it's working in the unique way it does, what's gone wrong in the unique way that it has, and give you the exact thing based on the historical analysis of your body that would make you feel better and make you live longer over time. That is what this does with social media. And you have to understand we're at a place now in social media where it is hyper personalized. It is not generic. So I was fed up of fake gurus because people not understanding that your account is your account. I am also fed up with the data overload. it's kind of framed as a good thing by these social media companies, in that, like, look, here's all your data, we're going to give you all your data. But actually what they do, and especially what Adam Mosseri is doing in his content at the moment, is they overload you. Data overload is proven technique to make people feel confused and spend money. Because what happens is social media works. Everyone knows social media works, but no one quite understands what to do to replicate it over and over and over again in a growth way. And so they pay for that. You pay social media companies to make sure that your content gets seen by more people, make sure it gets engaged by more people, make sure it gets clicked through by more people. But if you understand what actually did that, because these companies do, but if you understood, you could make it replicate it yourself without having to spend money with these companies. I work and know people who have started off with a 30 grand a month paid ad budget, and now 2 years later, they're spending 300 grand a month paid ad budget, because these companies, as soon as you pay, you're in. Like, you will be encouraged to spend more and more and more and more, and they will limit the reach of what you're paying for more and more and more and more. It's wrong. The other problem with social media is that it's a cesspit of resources. So you have to post all the time. And the only way that people tell you to grow on organic social media is post more, post more, post more, post more, post more. And it's a thing. You have to stay up and you have to be consistent. But every single time you post, that should be driving the ROI of your company. And it's not, because posting more with less insight, with less vision, with more guesswork, and it takes more resources. And that's just not right. Now, I'm probably doing myself out of a job in the Clue content side of the company, because I own a content creation company too. But it's the truth, and it's not fair. And the other one that people don't really talk about a huge amount is the carbon footprint of social media. Social media accounts for 5% of global greenhouse gases. Now, that's double the airline industry. Because of the sheer amount of power that it takes to do social media, to put the content on social media, like all of the energy that that takes. Now, if as a company, we can half the amount of time that you need to post, but double the ROI that you get from every single organic social media post, then we are lowering your carbon footprint. Even with the use of AI and the AI carbon footprint, we will still be lowering your carbon footprint. And that's something that I'm really proud of, and that I think should be talked about a lot more. But there's a big reason why social media is a mess. It's needs to be sorted out. And so why not do it? You know, so we set up Clue.Labs, which is dedicated to the research and analysis of social media data, and dedicated to giving the people back their power of social media. We create the content for these platforms. We should be able to understand our data. We should be able to replicate it. We should be able to grow on it. We should be able to not feel so burnt out, bogged down, get a creative drain, and feel frustrated with social media. We should be able to understand how it works. And your success of your company should not be down to whether or not you can post on social media. It should be down to whether or not your company is a good company to purchase from, and work with. So let's lower the barrier of entry to social media. So I'm going to take you through a walkthrough of the technology. I'm going to be doing a mixture of things. I'm going to show you here's one I did it earlier video that I have. I'm also going to be showing you it live. So I'm going to jump into a few accounts that we already have set up and walk you through those so that you can understand them. And it's going to show you what it is. I am aware that a lot of people have been interested in Clue.Labs, but don't actually really know what it is, which is my fault, because I was so excited about getting it out there, about showing everyone, about telling everyone the capabilities, possibilities of it. I've not actually walked anyone through and explained how it works, what the underbelly of it is like, and what happens to your data, how it creates its ideas. So I'm going to walk you through, but I'm going to be bouncing around a few different ways of showing you. Here we go. The first thing, and this is going to be the video section, is that this is the screen. So app.cluelabs.co.uk. As soon as we hit our founding member limit, which is 80, you will not be able to sign up anymore. The reason being that those 80 people are, oh, let me slow that down. The reason being is that those 80 people are, we want to work closely with them. I could have thousands and thousands of thousands of people sign up to this straight away. But I want to limit it because I want to work personally. This isn't a faceless software company. This is us and you. And I've built a tool that we are going to develop and work with together. So there's a limit. So as soon as that limit's done, you won't be able to sign up. But you sign up and you get sent a magic link. Magic links are passwordless ways and more secure ways of working with technology. So we have magic links. Once you sign up, now anyone watching this might have done this, put in your email, set up a team, and then got to the paywall, which I'll show you, and then not gone through the paywall. So if that's you, let's chat. Anywho, you set up your team. My suggestion is to give your team name the same name as the business that you'll be creating content for. If you're a social media manager or if you're a marketing agency or you have multiple accounts that you are working with, I'll go over that in the team setup section. But the first one, set it up for yourself, set it up for you, and give it your own name. So create team. Then what happens is you come to the paywall. So I'm going to cover the price later on because this is not just a piece of software that sort of similar to kind of, I don't know, Slack or something, which is just a blank screen that you populate. This is an intelligent piece of machine learning software. I'm going to go over what's included later on, but there is a real reason for it being this price. Even on this simple level, this is much less than paying a strategist to come up with your content plan, who will not be doing it based on data, who will not be doing it based on historical performance, who will be doing it based on guesswork, a little bit of experience, obviously, but mainly guesswork. Anywho, so you pay for it, you come through. The next thing is connecting your socials. Now, as a founding member, there is an extra step that you have to go through. Now, if you're watching this and you are a founding member, you will have an email about this and you possibly already set it up already, but we need to set you up with an extra step in the account to make sure that you can access things because you're coming in as a tester, you're coming in as a part of the team, basically. So we need to just make sure that your account, your socials are hooked up properly. This won't be a thing by the time we launch it in April. You'll just be able to crack right through. Anywho, you can connect up your socials. Now, this gives you a little clue about what's coming next. The initial setup is with Instagram, but the very, very big plan, the very much plan, very soon to be plan is to hook it up to these 4 socials and also YouTube. So you connect your socials, and once you've connected it, you will be able to see a list of all of the social media accounts that you manage that are connected to your Meta business suite. If you only have yourself, you probably won't see this page. It will probably just take you straight through. But in order to get sort of advanced insights, we need to be able to hook into everything that you have on Meta and pull it through, and then you'll be able to select your account rather than selecting your account at the Facebook selection bit, because at the Facebook selection bit, if you do it then, they don't give enough insights for us to be able to do what we need, because we are doing advanced and intelligent analysis of your data. We need as much data as possible. So you connect your Instagram account, then as soon as you connect up, you get a dashboard that looks a little bit like this. And I can show you in some of our accounts that we have set up, perhaps this one. Yeah, so this one is a blank dashboard. This is where you start to set up your team. So I'm now going to go through the team setup. As you're working through the team setup, this dashboard will start to populate. So the first thing it pulls in is channel analytics. The second thing it will pull in is your most recent post. And I'm going to go over, that will pop up very soon, but I'll be going over why that happens as we go. Here we go, pulled it up. why that happens and why that's really important. It's not just there for you to look at, it's there on purpose, for the technology, for the back end, for the data analysis. So when you set up your account, you need to start chatting to it straight away. So this is Sam, our social media analytical mind, and they will walk you through the setup all the time. They are your on-hand person in the chatbot, and they are the bit that we train. So we've called our model Sam. We are building out machine learning technology, which has its own model. So this is Sam. I'll take you back to the video because that will walk us through the setting up of an account. This one is my lovely face. Anywho, it's sort of, you go through a setup process. Now, the best practice with this setup process is to give it as much detail as possible. I'm not sure if you are familiar with AI technology, but and technology in general, but we use multiple. Oh, there we go. We use. I'll show you that bit later. We use multiple AI APIs to make this technology. This is not just a ChatGPT script or Claude script. This is not just a copy clone agent. This is a very intelligent piece of software, and we need to set up a few things to make sure that it stays intelligent and doesn't hallucinate. There are a lot of problems with hallucination in AI technology. And so by setting up your team, what you're doing is giving it an anchor point. So making sure that every time this technology works on, I'll show it, walk you through the next bit in a moment. Every time this technology works through your content creation and generation, it bounces back to your team data to reassess it and anchor it in logic. So that what doesn't happen is it starts to, because this is an analysis and it's constantly trying to find ways for you to improve, constantly, it might get to a point where it suddenly notices that your teenage daughter and their friends are really good at liking your content because they're supporting you. And so it might decide to change your audience type to teenage girls, because it starts to recognize that the teenage girls are the ones that are engaging a lot. And so let's make this whole business around, like, if we're chasing engagement for all sake, this company has to always create content for teenage girls because your teenage daughter and her friends always interact really quickly. And so we need it to not do that. And so we need it to anchor itself in logic and constantly check against this logic to make sure that it's doing the right thing. So if I take you to one I did earlier, so that one's all set up, what you'll notice is it's created this team toggle in the left-hand bar. So once you've set up, it goes through a little bit of, here we go. I pause it here. Process where it's onboarding the team, it's gathering more information, and it's setting it up. If I take you to here's one I did earlier, here we go. The team toggle, I would give it as much information as possible. Now, in that demo, I didn't give it enough information. I just walked you through. That's because I was needing to set it up quickly because it's sort of a demo thing. But best practice here is to give the technology as much detail as possible. So give it a really lovely description. Use all the words that you would be using in your technology. That really, really helps. Really go into your target audience, your tone, style, and your brand voice. This I have just copy and pasted from their website. So it's not, that bit isn't specific to the target audience and I need to adjust it, but I'm going to show you the outputs of this one versus the outputs of one that hasn't got a lot of information. And the tone and style, I've given it an example of what it is, and I've given it brand voice and a weekly posting frequency. This is how many times a week I want content ideas for. You can update this all the time. So things like your tone and your brand voice should stay the same. That's your brand voice. It's your personality of your company. You always speak in that way. But your tone and style might change. The kind of things that might change are whether or not you want emojis in your content or not. You can specifically put that there. With the style of your writing, describe the style of your writing. The tone might change depending on what's going on. So you might be your tone around Christmas time might be more excited than your tone around summertime, where you might want to have a more of a like chill vibes kind of tone in your content. So you can update and you can change these all the time. Give it as much information as possible, because every time it generates your content plan idea, it will bounce back and check it against these team settings and then go and create. The other things that are in this team account section are your members. So this one has 3 members. This is our internal account, so it has more than the limit of 2. But we have a free limit of 2 team members per team. You can add on more, but once you've reached the maximum amount, this one has 3. The maximum amount is actually 2. But this is an internal one, so this one has 3. But once you've reached the maximum amount, you can add in as many as you like. They are £9 per member per month. The reason being, like, we as a company have to be able to limit that, so we can't have 50 people in here looking at a team. We have to make sure that we're being sensible for ourselves. And you can also head to your connections here. You can disconnect and reconnect your account. When I go over the what's next, we are going to add in all of the social media accounts, the main ones, and you'll be able to manage them all from here. But once you have set up your team, it's really important that you then understand how the content calendar creation works in order to get the most out of this technology. So I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to talk you through how this works, because it's very intelligent, it's very clever, and you need to understand how it works to be able to get the most out of it. You need to understand how it works, if you're not signed up yet, to understand the depths of intelligence of this technology, because it is not a ChatGPT plugin that's sort of parroting you and giving you suggestions. I mean, anyone could sign up to ChatGPT and ask it to give you social media suggestions. That's not what this is. This is an in-depth analysis of historical performance, what's worked, what hasn't worked, what KPIs it's worked for, how it's worked, and then suggesting things off the back of that. So you can't do that in AI plugins. And so the way that it works is we have multiple AI set up to monitor multiple different things and to map your content. The first thing that happens when you sign up is it pulls in your previous 20 posts on social media. It's specifically 20 because on average, if you're posting 5 times a week for 4 weeks, that's a month's worth of content, you'll probably have posted about 20 times in a month. The average company posts about 20 times a month. So 20 posts is specific so that you can make 20 more posts, i.e. a month's worth of content off the back of a month, and constantly off the back of a month, especially the first time you use it. Every single time, once it's hooked up, after the initial pull of 20 posts, it is going to constantly pull in every single post you make after that, and all your channel analytics that it's making after that. So once it's pulled it in, it just grows and grows and grows. The more that it's set up, the more that you use it. And that makes it more intelligent. So it pulls in these 20 posts and it needs to map them. We've trained this technology on 4 KPIs. We decided to train the technology on a classic buyer's journey marketing funnel, so that we weren't just looking at solo data sets. We don't want to just look at followers. We don't want to just look at reach. We don't want to just look at click-throughs. I want to look at the relationship between different data sets and monitor a full, lovely buyer's journey through the technology. So if I just quickly share my screen again, I handily have a really extensive support library at support.cluelabs.co.uk. If you're not signed up and you want to ask any questions, go here. If you are signed up and you want to ask questions, go here. If there's anything that's not in here, tell me and I'll add it in. But I've done an article on what the KPIs are that we use and why. But the way that we use KPIs is that we go through awareness to interest to consideration to conversion. And awareness is right at the top of your buyer's journey. So it's making people, increasing the brand visibility and attracting fresh prospects. Interest is the next stage where we focus on turning awareness into engagement. The consideration stage is the next one where people are exploring the brand more deeply and showing real intent. And conversion is where people take a significant action to buy. The awareness stage is measured against these 4 data sets and the relationship between them. Interest about these 4, consideration with these 4, and conversion with these 4. This means that we can look at things like the relationship between reach and impressions, and we can look at things like the relationship between profile visits and engagement rate. So we're not just measuring one data set, we are really understanding in depth how and why your account is performing in the way that it is. Because like I said at the beginning, there is hyper personalization in social media. Every single follower you have will interact differently on your account. You might have one follower who tends to view videos longer, and that is their own signal of interest. But then you might have another follower who's really good at liking your content, and that's a different but probably doesn't watch all the videos right through. They just like it as it goes by. That's a different signal of intent. So we want to make sure that we're capturing everything, and we are giving you an analysis of a whole buyer's journey with all of your followers' interests at heart, not just the visible egocentric ones, the reach, the follows, the click-throughs. So we have it trained on these KPIs. Now, when we pull in this data, it needs to map every single post against those 4 KPIs. So it basically pulls the data in, analyzes it, and puts it in a bucket: an awareness bucket, interest bucket, consideration bucket, conversion bucket. And it uses those buckets to suggest what to do next. But it analyzes multiple things. The first thing that it does is analyze your account as a whole, so your channel analytics, which is why your channel analytics are on that dashboard. It analyzes that as a whole and looks at the whole of what's happening, and figures out where your weakest point is in your buyer's journey. So it looks at your account as a whole, and it figures out, like for influencers, generally they might have a really good awareness, so really good top of funnel stuff, but not great at conversion. And therefore it will probably suggest conversion to open up that funnel, make it nice and triangular. For people who have smaller accounts, they might have really good conversion, but not great awareness. So they're not great at attracting new people at the top, but they are good at converting the people that they have. The technology, therefore, would figure out that awareness was the weakest part, and it would suggest increasing awareness to be able to, again, make it a really lovely triangular buyer's journey. The technology pulls in your data, looks at these things, normalizes the stats, and then gives your account basically a temperature reading from 0 to 1. And then it uses that to analyze what's happening. This might change daily sometimes. And so we need to make sure that the technology kind of analyzes it over time. It's not just analyzing it once when it pulls through, it actually analyzes constantly. So there is a constant hooking to your socials. It's constantly looking at what's happening. It's constantly pulling things through so that it can make its suggestions to you. And I'll go over that in the calendar creation section. The next thing that it does is, once it's looked at your channel as a whole, it needs to look at each individual post to understand why it's working in that way. So each of these 20 posts that it pulls in initially, every time you continue to use it and you post on socials, it pulls that post in, analyzes it, and then, just constantly keeps pulling through and adding to these data buckets. It posts each individual post, like one by one by one, pulls it in, and it looks at multiple data points to be able to determine whether that post was good for awareness, good for interest, good for consideration, or good for conversion. Once it's analyzed and figured out which one it is, it kind of pops that post in the bucket. Yeah. So that each bucket starts to get full with good data. So good reasons why this works for this type of increase of KPI. The first thing it looks at is day and time. It analyzes, and this is much more, start to see this is much more than a human can do. The first sort of easy data set is the date and time. So it looks at those 20 posts and maps against each KPI what days and what times are better for each KPI. So it might have figured out by the time it does that your Tuesday at 12 p.m. posts always perform much better for conversion, whereas your Saturday 8 p.m. posts much better for awareness. So it then maps a structure for you based on day and time. So as soon as you select a KPI, it knows what days and what times to better suggest to better increase that KPI. Now, as you use it more, and this is the thing about this technology, you need to keep using it, or you need to just keep it alive. As you keep using it more, as it is able to pull down and feed on more data, it will have more data to analyze against. And so those decisions and that logic might change over time. The more intelligent it becomes because the more data it has, right? So the first thing is that. The second thing is the post format. So it will analyze what that post was. Was it a video, a carousel, image? And map that against KPI. So it will have understood what format works better for what KPI. So I don't know, video formats always seem to increase awareness, or carousel formats always seem to increase conversion. So when you select that KPI for increase, that is what it will suggest. The format that works best is what it will suggest. Hopefully you've done a range of different things. There are, this is where we rely on fake gurus. There are general things that we assume. We always assume that videos are really, really good for awareness, but that's just generally. It might be that your specific account, actually, the videos work really well conversion, but that's specific to you, and that's specific to your audience and the way that they interact with you. So that's something to bear in mind, is that this is how the hyper-personalization begins. After the format, it then looks at your caption. It reads through your caption and tries to understand different keywords, different phrasings, different ways that you might have written things to map it against a KPI. So that then in each KPI bucket, it has an understanding of the kind of caption, the kind of keywords that work for increasing that KPI. So it's mapped to that. And the next thing it maps, and the biggest thing, is the media analysis. So we've built out media analysis that looks at your, let me just turn that off, looks at your media. So this is where it's very, very good at looking at media. If it's a video, it will have looked at the video, the length of the video, what's included in the video, all the shots in the video, the type of music in the video, the type of transitions in the video, if there were any overlay text in the video, the video colors, the video lighting style. It looks at absolutely everything. If it's an image, it will have looked at, if it was this as a photo, right, this screen, it will have looked at the fact that female, blonde, blue eyes, C logo, necklace. It will have looked in the background. There's a banner with Clue written on it backwards. There's post-it notes here. There's a light in the corner. It's white. There's a blue chair. It looks at everything. And then determines, and carousels, you know, it looks at all of the things that you might have written on a carousel, and how many slides are in your carousels, and how many slides work for different KPIs, and what works on the text for different KPIs. And then it maps that media analysis. So what it's then done before it even goes into calendar creation, is it has mapped your data against these set KPIs. So suddenly it has full buckets that if you want to increase awareness, this is the day, the time, the format, the caption, the media style for each individual type of format of media you need to do. If you want to increase interest, it does this, you know, here's a bucket full of stuff to increase interest. If you want to increase conversion, if you want to increase consideration, if you want to increase conversion, it then basically it's starting to be trained. The thing about Clue.Labs is it's your own memory agent. You have your own machine learning memory agent that is yours, that is learning against your media and your posts. So hopefully you can see that once you've set up, it's a baby. It doesn't know anything outside of the 20 posts. It doesn't know anything in the future. It just knows those 20 posts, and it knows how your account is performing against these KPIs. So if, for example, I had one question come in from someone who works in the cake industry, but she's not a cake maker. She helps people grow their cake business. And in the past 20 posts, she had 9 of them that have pictures and videos of cakes in them. And so the technology, after analyzing 20, you know, close to half of these have pictures of cake in them. So I'm going to, the technology will be saying to itself, that mean, and they'll have been mapped. So it might be weighted that perhaps if they wanted consideration, perhaps it just so happens that 8 of the posts that worked for consideration, all 8 of them had cake imagery in them because of the media analysis. Therefore, if you select that, it's going to suggest that you make cake content. So it does, like, it is a baby piece of technology. It does need to learn over time. And the more that you allow it to be alive, so every day that it's alive for, and every day that you post on social media and it pulls it in, it's going to get more intelligent. It's going to have more data to analyze. It's going to be able to make better predictive outcomes because it will have more in each bucket. You know, the more data, the more accurate it will become. And the more you use it, the more it'll be able to understand your tone and style, and it will be able to write better. The one thing about the calendar creation to understand is that when you first use it for the first few times, it is going to sound a little bit AI-y because it is AI. It does have your business, your team set up to bounce across with your tone and style and your brand voice. But it does need to get better, you know, learn you a little bit more. It's your baby. It's your machine learning thing for you. So it starts off like just super fresh. And the more that you use it, the more it understands, the more it learns, the more it grows. So it does all of these things before it goes into calendar creation. And I'm going to talk you through the calendar creation. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to use my video again. And then I'm going to show you here's one I did earlier. But before I do that, actually, just because I've just talked about it, this is why on the dashboard it has a media bit in and it has channel analytics in. I'll go through the other bits in a moment. If your account doesn't have the media pulled through, that means that something's failed on the Facebook connection and we need to get in and have a look at it. That will be a Facebook thing, not an us thing, but we'll be able to understand it once. That's a job for the developers and for my team to have a look at. But you need to have that media there because that means that it's pulling through the media. Okay, but here's a calendar creation that I did earlier. So once you've set up your team, you'll notice that the Kate, the first thing that pops up in the chat box is the analysis of your account. So it's gone through the first bit of analysis and it's telling me that I would recommend focusing on consideration. Assuming that your reach is healthy, but engagement specific to promotional content lags, there is a need to examine why promotional posts are not converting awareness and interest into active consideration or further engagement. So it gives a reason why it's suggesting consideration and what it's done to give you that suggestion. It then gives you a little bit of suggestion of what other things you could do to make that KPI better. Let me just pop through here. But you can either go with the suggested continue with consideration, or you can select your own. So if you know that you want to, there we go. So you can continue with its suggestion, or you can switch KPI. So if you know you're going into a launch and you don't really care about what it's telling you, you just want those conversions, switch conversions. Or if you know that you actually really want like maybe some video views, maybe some awareness, you want to increase your reach, switch to awareness. So you still have the ability, and this is basically signaling the technology, look at this pot. So as soon as you select one of these, it then looks at the bucket that that data is sat in, and it will ignore the other buckets. Okay, so as you can see, like the more you use it, the more time you spend on it, the more that those buckets become full beyond the first 20 posts, the more because it's ignoring everything else, it's just looking at the data in that bucket, the more intelligent it will become. If you, I'm just touching on limitations here, if you, for example, after it's done the first 20 post analysis, if perhaps within those last 20 posts, you only had one post that increased awareness, but you select awareness, it will only have one post's data to analyze. We hope that 20 posts, 1 month worth of content is enough for it to have sort of enough for each bucket of KPI, but there's a possibility that it won't be. Depends on what you've done, depends on how recently you've posted, depends on how, you know, there might be an example whereby you might not have posted since Christmas. And so the 20 posts that it analyzes were all around Christmas because you haven't posted around Christmas. So it will only know from those 20 posts what went on around Christmas. And maybe that time was all about conversion. Maybe you're a product-based company and you're trying to get conversion around Christmas. You haven't posted since Christmas. So it will only know about conversion around Christmas time. So, and we can't pull in more than 20 previous posts. Otherwise, the whole thing takes too long. It could take up to 2 days to analyze more content than that. And it is not worth it. So there is an element of understanding what it's learning from and to understand the suggestions that it's giving you. But if you have any questions, if you are a part of Clue.Labs already and you have any questions, please just ask, like share things. I can look at your account. I can look at what it's doing in the background. I can tell you why you're getting the outputs you're getting and suggest ways to improve, suggest things. You know, we can help as humans. We are not a faceless software company. We are here with you. This is the tool that we're using to help you grow. Anywho, so if I just take you through a quick little bit of this, it's going to continue to ask you questions to set up your campaign about the future. It doesn't know what the future holds. It's not that clever. It doesn't know what's coming up. So it will ask you about things that are coming up, any particular key dates, any particular things you want to focus on, what the timings of your next campaign are going to be. You could jump into this technology and make 5 years of post ideas if you want to. I wouldn't suggest it because it's only based on 20 previous posts. So you can't make 5 years worth of content and only off of 20 posts. So I would suggest only doing a month at a time or less. to be able to get your post suggestions, and understanding that what you kind of want is it to grow and evolve with you. So imagine it's like a new hire sat next to you. You wouldn't want that new hire to make 5 years worth of content posts, because that new hire doesn't actually know much about the company. They've only just started today. So you want it to make a little bit, and then as it gets to know the company more, as it gets to understand you more, then let's make the next month, then let's make the next month. And every month you make with that new hire is going to be better than the previous, because it's going to understand more about your company. It's going to understand more about your audience and what makes them tick. So I'd only suggest doing a month to begin with, a month at a time. But it will ask you, and if you wanted to, you can make up to 5 years. But once it's done that, it's going to ask you about specific key milestone dates. Now, you'll see in this demo, I've not given it much context. All I've written is the date and International Women's Day. I would suggest, and I would urge you to give it more context than that, because all it knows is now is your previous 20 posts, what works, your team settings, and oh, it's International Women's Day on the 8th. So I'll make a post on International Women's Day on the 8th, but all I'll make is International Women's Day. And it might use some of its AI knowledge to come up with that post, but it's not necessarily going to be specific to you, or you want to talk about an International Women's Day. So I would give it more context. So it's going to ask you specific objectives. I would, again, give it more details than just generate leads, but this is just the sort of demo version to take you through how it works. And once before it begins to make the calendar, it's going to ask you if there's anything you'd like to add, if there's anything you'd like to adjust. Here's the details that I'm going to be going off of. You can see that this isn't a very in-depth amount of detail that I'm giving it, but it will still make the calendar for me. But as with any kind of AI tool, the more detail you give it, the better the outcome is going to be. So it's going to now go and make my calendar. Now, this section of generating your calendar can take up to 15 minutes. And I would suggest going away, grabbing a cup of coffee while you wait, and letting it do its thing. The reason it's going to take a long time is because it is analyzing a lot of data. It is going through every single one of those points. It's looking in the bucket that of data to use to make suggestions. It's mapping, firstly, the times and the days for your campaign. It's then mapping your formats for the campaign. It's then mapping your captions for the campaign. It's then mapping your media suggestions for the campaign. And then it's also looking at what you've told it you want to do in the future. And it's constantly bouncing that back against those team settings that you've set up to make sure that it doesn't hallucinate outside of the logic anchors that we've given it. And also, it's checking the day. ChatGPT, a lot of AI, they don't actually know what the day is today. So we have a little one set up that trains it every time to know what the day is. So it will make your content calendar. And once it's made your content calendar, now I'm going to go into the prompts and the suggestions of what it does. So here we go. You'll see that this has now generated a content calendar. It's come up in your left-hand toggle. It's there now. It's yours to use. And it's mapped your content. It's mapped the days, the times, the days, the times, and the formats. And in each one of these, it will have what the suggestion is. Now I'm going to reshare my screen. I'm going to share a live one again and take you through the suggestions. So you can see these ones are mapped. Actually, this is a really interesting thing. So this account is for the Moat House, which is a hotel. You can see these are mapped differently. There's still 5 times a week, but it's mapped Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, because it now knows for the Moat House, those are the days that are best to post. okay? But if you look at my example, it's mapped, I mean, it's popped one over here because I told it to do one for International Women's Day, but it is mapped the 5 posts Monday to Friday because it now knows that my Inga Hunter account posts Monday to Friday. It doesn't post at the weekend. So it hasn't suggested any weekend posts. Another one that I'll show you, which touches on limitations, is Clue.Labs. Now, Clue.Labs was a social media account we set up that launched only on as we set up the company. So the only post that was in there was one post, and I posted it on a Wednesday at 6 p.m. So even though I've told this technology I want 5 posts a week, it only has one post to learn off of when it pulled it in and mapped it. Okay. And the only post that it has was posted on a Wednesday at 6 p.m. So that is the only knowledge it has. That's the only data it has about what to suggest. It won't be able to suggest the 5 posts because it doesn't know that the days work. It doesn't know what days work. It doesn't know what to do. So it's only going to suggest the one thing. Another quick thing to mention, and I know I'm touching in the limitations here, is that if you've only ever posted video, like literally only video, it will only ever suggest video because that's the only thing that it knows. If you've only ever posted carousels, it will only ever suggest carousels because that's what it knows. This is something that we will be working on in the background to train it on slight hallucination, like slight suggestion, but we want to make sure that the basis of this is rooted in the statistical analysis and prediction of what will work next. So that's the data that it's trained on. Right, if I go back and I take you through the prompts. Now, this is telling me, post a video on Monday at 6 p.m. Okay. So it's mapped the video, it mapped the format, it's mapped the time and the day. It's telling me that I need an opening hook. So discover the art of dining with us. This is a 4-star AA luxury hotel, right? It wants me to either begin the video saying, discover the art of dining with us, or it wants to make sure that I've got that as a hook. In videos, you have the first few seconds to capture someone's attention on social. You need a hook. And it's worked out based upon previous videos what a good opening hook is for this set KPI that it's working on. It's then giving you a shot list. So it has looked at previous video shots in this account and figured out that these are the shots that it wants you to do for this video to increase the KPI that's been set. So a close-up of gourmet dishes being plated, friends clinking glasses in a lounge, chef garnishing a dish, lovers walking hand in hand by the lake, and tea being poured in a garden setting. Delicious. It's also suggested an overlay text. So this is perhaps something you could use in the cover photo, or you could put it up as text on the actual video, but it knows that there should be a piece of text on this video that says, where moments turn into memories. It wants me to hit these key talking points. So welcome to the Moat House, enjoy luxurious afternoon tea, romantic dinner, and it's written a suggested caption. Now, this is where the technology needs to be data-led but human-made. This is like a coloring book. Like these are the outlines, and I want you to insert your own creativity and human-made creativity into this video. So if this was me, I would probably do those shots, and then I would do a voiceover of these key talking points and opening hook, and then I would probably put this as a written overlay text on the video. So I would have a close-up of gourmet dishes in the video, close-up of gourmet dishes, friends clinking glasses, garnishing a dish, walking hand in hand, and then I would say, as a voiceover, discover the art of dining with us. Welcome to the Moat House, where dining is an art. Enjoy luxurious afternoon tea, romantic dinner, or cozy gathering with friends. Savor the gourmet colouring delights prepared with the finest local ingredients. Experience our beautifully landscaped garden with characteristic rooms. For a greener journey, use our electric car charging points. And then I would put that out as the video. Beautiful, right? But you need to make it your own. These are the things that it's telling you need to put in that video, okay? And let's pull up a different video. It's got some different shots. It's got different opening hooks, different overlay text, and a different up here posting time. So each one's going to be different because it knows what to do. The images. So let's pull up an image suggestion. It wants you, the visual direction, it needs to be professional and inviting with warm, natural lighting. The photo, it shouldn't say copy here, I'm going to change this, photo direction really. Carefully crafted disc, elegantly presented, showcasing vibrant colors and exquisite textures in a cozy setting. So you need to make sure that the photo, when you take it, has that. And you could put an overlay text on the top saying experience pure indulgence. So you could have a picture with, it could be kind of opaqued out with this overlay text on the top, or I could scrap the overlay text. But as long as I'm hitting the points that are made here, I know that this post is going to perform well for the specific ROI that I want. Another one is the carousels. So this knows to post 6 p.m. The theme of the carousel is culinary art and social dining. Please make 5 slides specifically and write this on each slide. 1 slide, 2nd slide, 3rd slide, 4th slide, 5th slide. And the call to action and the caption. Okay, it's very cool, very clever, right? And this is specific to you and you only, because it's based off of the historical analysis of your data. You can also look at it with a week view if that's what you prefer. Let me find one. Here we go. A week view. And in the very near future, what you'll see is a button that pops up that says add media. And you can add your media that you've made for this post and it will schedule and post it out. You know, after you've built something like this, turning it into a scheduler isn't tricky. So in the near future, I will cover what's next, but it will be a scheduler too. It will just post it out. The other thing you can do is if you really don't like the suggestions, you can select the campaign that you don't like and you can just delete it and start again. It's really simple, it's easy. But the other thing you can do is download it as a CSV. Now, this is very handy for your making of the content. So you can print this off, you can do it however you want. Ignore the first lot of columns, they are specific to, there's the campaign and the ID, post IDs, but you then have a list, pardon me, of things that you need to make. So you need to make this carousel, and all the details along the side. The other thing about the video suggestion is it goes through the post caption, the visual style, the overlay text, the hook, but also one thing that isn't actually popping up yet, which we just need to tweak, it's a tiny tweak, but is the music style. So it knows that this video needs soft jazz with a cozy and inviting ambience. But this one needs light acoustic instrumental on the top of it. The post talking points and the B-roll shots for the video. So you have a, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to stop sharing there, but you have a printed out, you can have a print out version of the CSV. Now you need to go away and make these and post these, because every time you post, it's going to give it more data to work off of, more things that it's going to do. And if you like, you can update your team sort of bits and tweak it a little bit until it's giving you something that you want. But please bear in mind, the suggestions that it posts initially, like if I show you mine, which I, as we've gone over, was trained on really basic inputs, the outputs in the calendar are going to sound like quite AI, because it doesn't, I gave it limited, if you remember from the video of me setting up the team bits, setting up the details, it's got very basic information to go off of. So it sounds more AI, ready to revamp your brand social media. I could definitely start a video by saying that. Are you ready to revamp your brand social media? Current trend, talk about current trends in social media marketing. Personal branding is a key strategy for 2024. That needs a little bit of shift. Create engaging content that resonates, build loyal audience organically, reflect on successful case studies. Here's my shot list, master social media in 2024. Some of those are a little bit AI, because it's young, because it's also, I haven't put a lot of information into it, and it needs more to go off of, to work on, to get better at. The visual direction, this is kind of, I could definitely make this image with neutral, warm, soft, natural lighting, an entrepreneur cafe, engrossing laptop with a tea, with, you know, make it warm, make it approachable. And I could put the overlay stock text of your story, your brand. You know, it's quite like an inspirational Instagram-y kind of visual. So every month you come back in, you make a new one, or you can make like just a week at a time, as long as you can create the content that goes out. And then over time, what will happen is, if I go to the Make House here, over time, what will happen is your dashboard will start to populate. You'll start to see, we're going to add in reporting very soon as well. But you will have a current campaign summary. So what's going on right now in your socials. So right now, there's a campaign focused on making more comments with interest as a main KPI, and that's running till the end of March. But there's a KPI summary. So at the moment, the campaign's performing well, engagement rates are up 15% compared to previous period. So if you are a social media manager, or if you are working in a company and you need to report to someone, or your marketing agency, you can have a quick look in here and just tell your client or tell your boss, yeah, engagement rates are up 15%, and they'll be happy. You know, I've thought of that for you. Or even for yourself, so that you don't have to sit and do a whole 3-4 days of data analysis to be able to tell someone the engagement rates are up 15%. It knows, and it's telling you. If you have any more questions about it, like I said, the Clue.Labs support.cluelabs.co.uk is full of some FAQs. So what, like going into more depth as how it works, why it does it the way it does. And then also how-tos. So how to make sure you set up your account, what happens when it goes wrong, how to generate a thing, how to share your account with your Clue, with a team leader, how to contact us. So there's a lot of articles in the support.cluelabs.co.uk support site. You can also chat to our support bot about what you need, and it will analyze, it basically analyzes the help article and suggests workthroughs, but also it can connect you with a human. The humans are us. So we'll be on the other end of that, or you can just drop us an email. But I was going to go over limitations, but I've done that as we've been going, so that you understand how intelligent it is, but where the limits of it lie, and why you might get outcomes that you were, why you might get the outcomes you were getting, understanding why you're getting those outcomes, and the limitations of what is happening. So what I now want to cover is what's included currently, and then I'm going to cover what's next. So right now, it's a founding user sign up. A founding user is someone who is interested in having all of that. So all of that already works. That's yours. You can crack on. You will be able to be training your machine learning memory agent much earlier than anyone else using this technology. So you're getting a head start on your content and your ROI, and driving higher ROI for less effort. So you're getting a head start on that. You're getting access to the technology. But the other thing about what's included right now is that you are a founding member. You are helping us shape the direction and the development of this technology. There's a whole community. So you are a part of it. We've got a Slack channel set up where every founding member is in. You can get to know other people. You can get to be a part of the community, but you have direct access to feedback and be a part of you. Yesterday, I was on open Zooms all day, basically helping people get set up, walking people through the technology, walking people through what they can do with it, what their outputs are, and every week there will be open Zoom sessions for the founding members. I am not going to be supporting open Zoom sessions for all users for the rest of time. You'd never ever see any software where you can sit on an open Zoom with the CEO and walk through the software in a one-to-one kind of basic capacity. So that's included. That kind of really hands-on support is included. And the communities included, and the shaping of future ideas for technology. So I'm going to cover what's next. The first thing to say is what comes next is primarily based on what our founding users want. If you want to be a part of developing technology, if you love the idea of this technology, you wish it did this one thing, you wish it did this, you wish it worked in this way, you wish it worked specifically in a way for you, become a founding member, because I can work on developing out features for the founding members. That is what you're there for, the feedback, the iterations, the development. So primarily, first and foremost, the development of the technology is based around what the founding members use, need, love, and hate. The next bit is I want to talk you through my own vision for the future. So if I just make sure I've got my video into the right bit, I am going to talk you through some bits on the dashboard screen that you won't see on your account. And these are all sort of dummy bits that have been popped in for demo versions on what my vision is for this technology and how we can get it into the future. So there's some things that you already have. You have the chatbot set up, you have your latest post performance, and you can check that post performance against a few things, and you can check your channel analytics. The other main important thing to note is that there will be reporting coming in, there will be scheduling coming in, and there will be multiple platform signups coming in. So it will get to a point where you can add in Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, possibly Threads, because that's growing really, really well, in here, and you will be able to create multi-platform strategies. But not only that, you'll be able to look at your platforms on a macro level. There is no other technology that links all of these social media platforms together and analyzes how they work in unison. They all analyze how they work in silos, and they'll give you the raw data, but they won't do the analysis. No other technology does the analysis. So understanding how it works on a macro level. So you might get to the point with this technology where you have a multi-platform strategy happening, because we all know that you need to post different things on different platforms. We all repurpose to some degree, but understanding is because different audiences are on different platforms and they respond differently. Again, hyper-personalization per platform. But understanding on a macro level, you might be really good at attracting awareness on TikTok, but conversion happens on LinkedIn. Or your interest might work really well on YouTube, but in order to get people to your YouTube channel, your awareness always happens on Instagram. Imagine being able to understand that. It would limit the amount of effort or thought you need to put into it. So definitely the things most definitely happening are reporting, scheduling, and multi-platform. This will be going live to the general public with new features from the spring. So at that point, it's not going to be the price it is. I'm going to cover price a little bit later on, but it won't be. The other things that I can envision with this technology, right, and the possibilities, it can have, you've got your current campaign summary, you've got your current campaign KPI summary, but this latest news, you need to have reactive content, okay? We all need reactive content. The news cycle on social is quicker than the news cycle. So reactive content or newsjacking is where we can hook this into Google News feed. And you can set up the specific news that's specific to your industry that you want to be alerted of. You won't just be alerted of it. It will pop up so it's got the rise of short form content here from Marketing Weekly. It will pop up with a button here that says generate a post. So you can generate post ideas that are not just reactive, like, this is cool, but are based off of what it knows works because it analyzed the performance, it's specific to you, and this news article and what's in that news article and what key points you could talk about in that news article. So all you need to do, press the button, it will pop up with your post suggestion, and you go and make it quickly and post it out. The other thing is reactive content on platforms, so that you could be able to, it will pop up with, you'll have a bit in the left-hand sidebar that has a whole reactive dashboard. And not only will it have news, but we'll also have trending things on platforms. So that a TikTok trend might be happening, and it will suggest that you should jump on this TikTok trend because it's relevant to you and it will be great reactive content for you. So there's the reactive content that we can pop in here. The competitor analysis. So there are public analytical data sets that we can analyze that your competitor, we can't analyze conversion in your competitors because that's private to them and to you, but we can analyze things like interest, consideration, and a little bit of awareness. So we can rank you against your competitors and how you're performing against that KPI with your competitors, so that you don't have to sit and think, oh my gosh, I'm performing really, really badly or whatever. You can actually have a really in-depth analysis of how your account is performing against competitors and why. You'll have again, more in-depth. This is just the dashboard of things that are possible to go more in depth with. I'm going to come back to audience DNA because that's pretty cool. But the other things that I envision are, number one, a visual representation of your KPI strengths and weaknesses. So this one, for example, is this is a, oh, where am I going to get it right? This here with this lovely triangle, that's a really lovely marketing funnel. You've got lots of awareness happening at the top and it's like filtering people through really nicely. This one is where you've got lots of bottom funnel, so lots of conversion perhaps, but not great awareness. So this would be suggesting that you focus on awareness. And the technology is already doing this in the background, but I'd love a little visual representation of it so that you can just have a quick look and see where your account is in terms of that media, that strength analysis. The other thing is a content media analysis. So as much as, so this is a data-led, human-made tool. So you have to make your content. But it doesn't mean that with our media tools, media insights, we can suggest things. So it will pull up your recent post. These little pink dots are suggestions on how to make the visual aspect of that post better. So if it was analyzing this post, for example, my screen, it would definitely pull out that bit there. You see how it's gone really, really white over here? That's blown lighting. So it would suggest that I do something to mitigate the blown lighting. It would probably suggest that I use the rule of 3, and I have got my eye line on the rule of 3. If you need to look up rule of 3, go and have a look. It's really interesting. But it will start to be able to give you creative feedback on how to improve your actual posts, so that this acts like social media strategist because of all the social media stuff that it supports with. It also acts as a data scientist because of the amount of analysis. If you wanted this all done by a human, you would have to pay 3 or 4 data scientists, minimum 100 grand salary a year to be able to analyze your social media data. And even they wouldn't get through what this gets through. And it also can act like a creative director with the analysis of the media and the suggestions of how to improve, but also the suggestions of what to do in your shot list, what the video music style should be, all those kind of things. It's 3 people in one tool. The other bit down here, so where am I? This brand mentions bit. This is a nod to social listening, but not just a nod to being mentioned, but it is sentiment analysis. So it will pull through everywhere that you've been tagged and mentioned on all platforms. So you'll have one view of where you're being mentioned across LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, Threads, TikTok. So people will be able to, you'll be able to have an overarching visual view of what people are saying about you. But not only that, but you can see there's these little emojis. So a smiley face, equals, and a stop, a sentiment analysis. So it will be able to analyze whether that brand mention was positive with a smiley face, whether it was neutral with a equals, or whether it was negative. And if you have a lot of sort of, let's say, perhaps negative stuff coming in, it will be able to suggest a post idea to mitigate that negative sentiment that's happening on socials. Or if it's really positive, again, a post suggestion that is suggesting post ideas based upon really positive reviews and feedback. So this is social listening, but also with sentiment analysis. It's really important for lots of really big brands that are constantly being mentioned all over the place. And this audience DNA is my kind of wild card of what I would really think would be interesting with this technology. And that is the mapping and sequencing of your audience behaviors and habits. Because it's hyper personal to you, hyper personal to your account. Just like our body is, just like our DNA is. And so, you know, it will learn little nodules. So let's say these all yellow nodules are all to do, you know, it's learned that specifically women between 23 and 27 always react with the color yellow in your content. And then it might learn another bit about how whenever you have a picture of a pig in your content, your engagement increases by 7%. And then maybe every time you use every time you wear a bold colored shirt in your content, your awareness increases by 20%. So it would learn little nodules. And once it's learned about a whole sort of section of behavior or habits, it will start to develop a genome. And these will develop out and you'll have your own audience DNA. But then the possibility is that it will be able to sequence that, match that DNA with other accounts that it knows. So it might turn up and say, oh, by the way, your music genome and your audience is matched with that of Nike's. So why not partner with Nike, but make sure that you are using the same music when you partner. And really in-depth understanding of your audience's behaviors and habits. And the other thing that is possible with this technology is that we include other outside data, real world data, in order to give it more intelligence on why things are happening on your social media accounts in the way that they do. For example, when it rains, that will affect your, we know that when it rains, your engagement goes up because people are in the house, they're scrolling a lot more on social media. When it is sunny, your reach might go down, but your conversions might increase because your people are not on their phones as much. So your awareness isn't as high, but your conversion is because everyone who's on their phones is in a better mood and more likely to buy. So incorporating all these different things to basically give you a hyper intelligent analysis of your social media, but not just the analysis and giving you the raw data and telling you, but suggesting and predicting what to do next, how to maximize off of that analysis. So that's all of the what's next. And that brings me to explaining the price of the technology. So the current founding member price of the technology is £150. It is specifically £150 because that is based off of some other technology that I've looked at, but that's because you, even from the beginning, you have your own memory agent with machine learning abilities that is yours. That is only yours, that is hyper-personalized, ready to grow and hyper-personalize around you, your social media accounts and your audience and your analysis. So when you look at it like that, you also are getting the community, the Slack channel, the access to, so my content creation team are in the Slack channel. So if you ever have any creative burnout, or if you're not sure what to do for some of the prompts and suggestions, you lean on my content creation team in there for them to give you suggestions, for them pardon me, to guide you through. You're also, as a founding member, being able to suggest things that you love, that you don't love, features that you'd love to see, and we can develop, you can have the opportunity to have a technology developed around you and the community that you're within very quickly. I don't know any other technology or SaaS software that gives you this kind of access and insight and connection to the team and support and general interest in you and what you need, because it's brand new technology and you're going to be a part of the growth of that technology. For the founding members as well, it will always be £150 a month unless you decide to leave. If you decide to leave and you want to come back again, you'll come back on the level of what that technology is at that time. It's going to get more expensive. When we launch it in, so yeah, and founding members also, get we're going to have sort of the live open Zoom sessions every week. It's a whole thing. But when we launch it for open general public from the spring, it will be more, we haven't finalized and settled on the pricing model yet for it, but there are some certainties. It will definitely be more than £150 just to sign up to what's available at the moment. Once you've signed up to the sort of base use, you will then be being charged for every module that you decide to include. So for every social media platform that you want to add on, there will be an extra price per social media platform. For every one of the analysis tools that you want to add on, there will be an extra price per analysis tool. So you'll be paying for a base sort of setup monthly, base monthly fee, and then additional price per analysis tool, per social media platform, per member, per everything that you add in, because everything that you add in needs more data, which means that your memory agent for you needs to be better, more intelligent, and have more to it. So that, that costs money, that it needs more. So you need to pay for everything more. People will also start to be charged a usage fee, so that every post generation that comes up beyond a basic sort of included level will be charged on a usage fee as well. So can you imagine, like, if you have all of your social media accounts set up doing the analysis, and then you want to create a multi-platform strategy. So you have 5 social media accounts set up. You have 5 post suggestions per social media account set up. That is per week. That is 5 times 5, 20 post suggestions. I don't know, 25 post suggestions a day times 5 days in a week, 25 post suggestions a week. I need to charge for usage fee of 20, versus someone who's just using it for one social media channel, 1 post a day, 5 posts a week, the 25 posts a week, the analysis of that, so basically I have to charge usage fee as on top of that as well. So the price will increase. The price will also increase quite dramatically depending on what people are accessing and what tools, because for example, the audience DNA sequencing, for some are, like, you could argue that's only relevant to really big corporations. So for scale-up companies or startup companies or small businesses, it's not relevant. So that shouldn't be something that you need to pay for. So the price now is the founding members price, and you are getting a lot. You really are. It's incredible, and you're part of the journey with us. And you're part of the development with us. And as new things come out, they just get added into your account for free for you to test. You'll be able to test things before they go live. You'll be able to give us feedback before it goes live. You'll be able to access all of the possibilities of things for the continued price of £150 a month, even when it's this full-blown, full research analysis, predictive, suggestive machine. Right? We have a handful of founding places still available. And you need to be on one of them, even for the sort of what's available right now is really cool, but then also what's available in the future is insane, because nobody has a clue how to do these things, but we should. Any questions, please ask. thank you for watching the demo.